everything you think you want is already here. If you were to make a list of everything you think you want, whether it's a big house, whether it's for someone to love you, whether it's for someone to say you're sorry, whatever is on your list, the reason you want that is so that you can connect with an internal state of being. You really want an awareness that all is well so that you can relax. It's not really the $1 billion that you want. You want what you think it will give you. And so every story you tell about what you want what you think it will give you, which is an internal state of being. To unravel that is a connection with some flavor of love, compassion, and freedom. Seeking real in the unreal. To approach this, it's so poignant to see this clearly. The fundamental message here in seeking the real in the unreal is recognizing that there is a sincerity of seeking in the human experience that's looking for something real, but it's trying to find it in the unreal, which is why the journey of seeking can seem to be so disheartening, crazy, irritating, frustrating, and disappointing. And I invite us to recognize this in our human journey thus far: the frustration, the disappointment, the irritation, the suffering, because we are looking for something that's incredibly sincere, but yet every time we go to find it, it slips through our fingers, or we think we found it and it's not what we thought it was going to be, or we know what it is, but it doesn't seem to be anywhere. Naturally, this can lead to us giving up, having a bad taste of spirituality in our mouth, almost thinking that maybe it's a sham, maybe it's not the answer either. I would suggest that this is all coming from an innocent misunderstanding that confuses the unreal for the real. And so I hope to make this a little bit more clear. And naturally, my intention isn't to resolve this completely. My intention is to spark a spirit of curiosity within you that goes deeper, that recognizes just how important this is. And then that ignites a devotion that looks more sincerely in this direction of spirituality in its most authentic form. Within every human being, there's a fundamental craving, and this is in the innate makeup within all human beings. This craving, in some capacity and on the surface, says, I'm looking for wellness. I'm looking to be at peace, resolve the internal drama. This could also be said as, I'm looking to feel good. Can we just acknowledge that in a very broad way? This is profoundly true, that every human being is seeking this. And to bring further clarification to what is being sought after, we are seeking a particular form of awareness, a recognition of wholeness, where all is well, where what you are is accepted, where what you are is whole and complete, where what you are is not entangled in fear and allowed to be present as you are. This is a fundamental craving in all human beings. And through the confusion and the misunderstanding, we go about finding this in the most adorably insane ways that will never work, ways that are impossible, and it can create a life of deeper suffering through the disappointment of not being able to connect with what we fundamentally long to connect with, which could also be said as unable to connect with what's really important. The primary hindrance to this seeking is we are looking for that something in an imaginary environment. We are looking for something that's real in that which is unreal. We are looking for something that's authentic in that which is inauthentic. We are looking for something that's true in that which is false. There isn't the awareness that you're looking in that which is untrue, that you're looking in that which is inauthentic, or that you're looking in that which is false, which is what adds to the frustration. This discovery carries a patient invitation where you're being asked to see something in a way that you don't traditionally see something. Because traditionally, we're seeing things in sort of an upside down, backward sort of way. And we are looking in the unreal. Playfully, as you're listening to me, many are listening to me from the unreal. And I'm pointing to something real, which can create, potential confusions about what I'm saying. So I invite us to go slow and be patient here. What's the unreal? The unreal is that which is not real, which is also to say that which is imaginary. If we look at this moment right now, you and I here together, you wherever you are in this moment, there is the reality of here and now. And then there is your imagination, which overlays a story on top of here and now. Do you notice how your attention can be captured by the mind's content? You're thinking about what I'm saying, you're thinking about yesterday, you're thinking about your future, and your attention is focused on that. Not wrong or bad, just look at the mechanism here. Do you notice the distinction between having your attention on mental commentary and then having your attention here in the present? And this might be a stretch for some because, again, we could have lived our entire lives in the mental content without much connection to presence. And so presence can feel kind of foreign. Like, what is that? But just notice this distinction where your attention can be on the mind's content, thinking and thinking and thinking. And then there's this space before thinking where you're just present. You're just here. The here-ness, the right now is what's really happening. Everything that the mind is seeing its own content, meaning there's the here-ness of now, and then there's the interpretation on top of the here-ness. And that interpretation isn't reality. That interpretation is like a painting of reality. The painting of reality is not reality. The painting of a sunset is not the sunset. Your interpretation of my words are not my words. Your comments about the bird song is not the bird song. The commenting, the perceptions, the stories, those are all products of imagination. What you think was yesterday is a product of imagination. What you think of 5 minutes from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, is imagination. None of that is actually real. None of it is actually alive. And this has been the spiritual pointer throughout all traditions, which is an invitation to discern the difference, to wake up from the dream, which is seeing your imagination as reality, waking up and seeing what's actually here right now. And this seeing of what is actually here cannot be seen with the mind. Because again, the mind can only see its content. Spirituality and even all of the things that I'm saying present tools and playful strategies to allow you to set the mind's content down so that you can fall deeper into presence. It's like recognizing, oh, I don't have to think about that. Okay, I can let that one go. And then something else comes around. It's like, wait, that's not relevant. I can let that one go. And more you just start realizing that, okay, the mind cannot go where I'm looking to go, which is home, which is back to reality. And so one surrenders all of the mind's content. It doesn't stop the mind's content. It just loses interest in the mind's content because it's not the appropriate tool for connecting with reality. Why is this important? Why is this the foundation of spirituality? As it relates to the fundamental craving in all human beings, what you're craving for is contained in reality. What feels like it's missing is only perceivably missing because you don't see that it's here right now. It's not that it's actually not here. It's not seen. It's not connected with. Our awareness is so far removed from reality and lost in a dream, believing the dream is real, that it becomes disconnected from the real through attention. And that separation through attention, and it's not a real separation, it's just not seen. It's here, it's available, it's in you. So you're not really disconnected from it. It's just disconnected from attention. It's perceived to be missing. And because it's perceived to be missing, it feels like it's missing. The spiritual pointer invites us to recognize that everything we fundamentally crave, and I'm going to say in a direct way, everything you think you want is already here. To clarify this, if you were to make a list of everything you think you want, whether it's a big house, whether it's for someone to love you, whether it's for someone to say you're sorry, whatever is on your list. The reason you want that is so that you can connect with an internal state of being. Oh, I want $1 billion so that I can relax and know that all is well. Okay, so you really want an awareness that all is well so that you can relax. It's not really the $1 billion that you want. You want what you think it will give you. And so every story you tell about what you want what you think it will give you, which is an internal state of being, which again, to unravel that is a connection with some flavor of love, compassion, and freedom. The more you connect with presence, the more you see what is actually here right now. There is a natural byproduct of experiencing more love, compassion, and freedom. It's not something that you do. It's not something that you create. It's something that's already here that is a fundamental part of what you are. And the only reason it's not experienced is because it's not seen. This also speaks to the fundamental misunderstanding in being human that says in order to connect with what you want, you have to do something, you have to create something, you have to acquire something, you have to earn something. All of that implies that what you crave is in the future. All of that implies that what you crave is not here right now. And so that sets you on a quest of getting to some other moment than right now, which is a disaster because what you crave is only here right now. This is the epic disappointment where we chase and chase and chase and chase, thinking if only this, if only that, then I can connect with what I crave. All the while, we are perceiving reality as an obstacle. We are perceiving the present moment as in the way, which makes extraordinary sense of why this can be so frustrating, because you are rejecting the very space that contains what it is you're actually looking for. What is the future other than your imagination about the future? Whatever you think is in the future that will give you what you want is looking for what you want in the imagination. It's looking for what you want in the unreal. It's looking for a way to connect with the reality of love, compassion, and freedom in the unreal world that you create in the imagination. Looking for something real in the unreal. This works in the opposite direction as it relates to the past. What is the past other than your imagination of the past? Likewise, we can say, if only the past was this, if only the past was that, then I could connect with the reality of love, compassion, and freedom. This again is looking for what you crave in the unreal. Beyond past and future, what is the world other than your imagination about the world? Which is also to say, what is a new job other than your imagination about a new job? What is a new relationship with another person other than your imagination about that relationship? What is a new car other than your imagination about a new car? What is anything in your world other than your imagination about that something in the world? You don't experience that thing out there in the world. You experience your imagination about that thing in the world. You don't experience something called the future. You experience your imagination about the future. You don't experience buying a new car. You experience your imagination about that experience. The world of imagination is an infinite landscape of possibility that is a container that allows you to imagine whatever about the future, whatever about the past, and whatever about what things mean, in such a way that to get a job or to lose a job, there are infinite interpretations about what that means. Just take a moment and recognize how vast the world of imagination is. To such degree, how much is going on in the dream about you and your life that isn't happening at all in reality? Through our human journey, we can get so incredibly lost in this world of illusion, in this world of dream, thinking that it's reality, and it will drive you absolutely crazy. At least to me, it's a more appropriate definition of insanity, believing something that's real, that's actually only imaginary. And spirituality looks to bring sanity back to our lives, which is the ability to discern the difference between what we imagine to be happening and what's actually happening. Also, as a quick note, this pertains so much to the journey of trying to find yourself, because 99.9% of human beings are trying to find the reality of themselves in the unreal, which is also to say, find yourself in the world, find yourself in the past, find yourself in the future, which is also to say, trying to connect with who you think you are, which is the unreal. It's like we're trying to figure out, what am I really? Who am I really? And then we go thinking about it. We think about the past, we think about the future. We look at the mind's content, looking for the real. And then, because the nature of the illusion can really look real, you start believing you found something because it looks real. Oh, I'm really this. Oh, I'm really that. I'm this idea. I'm this story. I'm this cute spiritual phrase. And then we think we found it. And then given enough time, it starts to unravel. You start to see through it. Like, wait, is it that really? Wait, what is that even? And then we're back to, oh, I lost myself. Spirituality in its most original context, in its most sincere invitation, and I say that intentionally because the concept of spirituality, just like every other concept, can easily be co-opted or hijacked by nonsense, by ideology, by dogma, by egos who are terrified of losing their imaginary self-importance. It can become something that it's not. So often it becomes an accessory that we wear, that we put on to our dream character in an effort to appear this way or that way, rather than seeing its genuine pointing and laying down all the accessory, stripping away all of the story, the opinions, the beliefs, all of that which is imaginary, and connecting with something that is much more present here and alive, authentic and real. Which it should probably be made clear, the reason why there's such a hindrance to that is because it invites you to let go of the imagination you're clinging to in the hopes that one day it'll give you what you crave. And so spirituality invites you to let go of who you think you are so that you can connect with what you really are. And that is a doorway into a very expansive space of the unknown, which can be quite terrifying. Not that it needs to be terrifying, because there's nothing really terrifying in it, but from the perspective of an ego, that's extraordinarily terrifying to the extent that it can feel like dying, because it's like you're asking me to discover that who I think I am doesn't exist. Who I think I am is only my imagination, which is like who I think I am being exposed, who I think I am dying and starting over. And it's also further potential disappointment to realize you've spent an entire life building up a dream that has no reality to it, that has no substance to it, that doesn't offer you anything other than an imaginary sense of self-importance, which again is imaginary, so it doesn't feed you at all. It's just a mask being worn that attempts to protect you from what you imagine to be the world's judgment, which isn't the world's judgment at all. It's just a way of you hiding from your own self-judgment. And so again, spirituality in its most original context is a very gentle invitation when you're ready, which is usually through suffering, to come home and see something that's more real, which will give you everything that you crave. Fascinating. But we're going to transition here to Q&R, question and reflections. If there's any questions, let's speak to those first, or have me speak to a particular something, sharing how I see, then I can do that. And then anything else that you might want to mention. Faina says, thank you for this topic. I sometimes get stuck in trying to heal the past and stuck in the dream of the future. Needed that reminder to appreciate the presence more. Yep, that's what it is. A reminder. Isn't that interesting? Because in some way, it's like we already know this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Which is why it's so great that we can come together like this, especially all over the world, and just get a good dose of reminding that all is well, that you're whole and complete. And I guess also to mention, which is another important part of this coin, that if there's this vast landscape of imagination, what we call the dream life, the illusion. What purpose does that serve other than play? Can reality ever overcome imagination? Reality doesn't have to overcome imagination, because imagination cannot touch reality. Reality has no concern about your imagination, which is why there's an epic freedom for you to imagine whatever. One of the ways that I illustrate this is like with a cinema. When you go to the movies, you're looking at a white screen. There's a big white screen in front of you, and then in the back, there's a projector. The projector puts a movie onto the white screen. No matter what the projector puts on the white screen, whether it's a great adventure, whether it's a comedy, a drama, or a horror movie, nothing the projector puts on the screen actually touches the screen. It doesn't affect the screen at all. It doesn't matter what's projected. The projector that puts the movie on the screen thinks that it's watching something out there, thinks that what it's seeing is separate from itself. It says, look, I'm watching it out there. But actually what the projector is watching is coming from the inside of the projector. The only thing that the projector can see is what the projector puts there. The only thing there other than what the projector puts there is a white canvas, is a blank screen. This is the foundation of reality, an empty space that extends a freedom for you to put anything on the screen, knowing that reality can't be touched by it. So it's not worried about it. It's not afraid of it. It's not concerned. It's an epic space of allowing, which is also an epic space that says, I love you. You're free. It would only be the imagination that tries to overcome the imagination, which is a silly battle. There's nothing to overcome. There's only to see reality. And again, it's not seen from the mind. We're not looking for it with our thinking. Maybe a more accurate way is we are opening up our hearts that invites ourselves to be touched by reality, to be touched by what's actually here. And in order to be available, we have to let go of the unreal. You can't go into the real while bringing the unreal with you. The more unreal you bring with you, the less real you'll experience. And so often, people get little tastes of reality. They dip their toe in, but they're not ready or willing to let go of the dream. Which is also to say they're not ready and willing to let go of what other people think about them. They're not willing and ready to let go of their resentments. They're not ready and willing to let go of what they want from other people, what they want from themselves, what they want for their future. They're still holding on to these things with the confused hope that it will one day be their salvation, which is gently and simply a worshiping of images. It's worshiping your ideas. It's worshiping who you are thought to be rather than worshiping reality, what is real, what is true. It says, give me my illusion. And this goes on and on and on until we see very clearly, oh shit, it's not real. And we'll see that to varying degrees, where you'll see it one day, it'll be profound, which opens you up to see it at a deeper level next week, next year. And you'll say, oh shit, it's deeper than I thought, which will prepare you to see it more deeply. It's a spiral journey inward, which also means the love that's discovered continues to expand. Like however beautiful this realization is now for you, it's infinitely more beautiful the deeper you go into it, which also gives you access to more love, compassion, and freedom that you get to share with the world and other people, which again is why I continue to invite a recognition that this is the most important thing you'll ever stumble upon, this discovery. And it's kind of funny, adorable, and sweet that we could think there's something more important than seeing life clearly, that we could think something is more important than seeing the truth of what you are. And what are those other important things? I mean, the list is endless. It's absolutely endless, but it's a good question to ask yourself. What do I think is more important? And that something through a misunderstanding is actually stealing your life from you through a confusion. Now, it's not like intentionally stealing it, like it's out to get you. It's just a way of illustrating it. But it's like, what a great example of this is like addiction. The alcoholic thinks they want alcohol. Do they really? No. But there's a play going on in their awareness, partly because they're so disconnected from reality that they actually think that they want it, but it's actually stealing life from them. And so in our human experience, we think there are things that are more important than the truth of life. And again, it's all innocent. There's no blame or judgment in it, but we think there's something more important, which in a way keeps us at a distance from what we're actually looking for, which again is why this inquiry is so important. And it seems, at least it appears to me, that as long as I'll be breathing, I'll be repeating myself over and over and over again, talking about these things, because it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. There's nothing that compares, even though in many ways I just repeat myself over and over and over again. And every time I talk about it, even if I repeat myself, it's still amazing. Doc asks again, my work today deals with the 15 to 19% of the world that have personality disorder. How does reality and imagination impact us and the people in our lives with PD? Playfully, I'd say 99.9% of people have personality disorder in some way or another. The greatest impact you're going to have in helping other people is how you see them. Do you see them with love, compassion, and freedom? Or do you see them as in the way somehow? Do you see them as standing between you and what you want in the future? Or do you see them as perfectly placed, having the journey that they're here to have? And in recognizing that, you can be a container that holds space that allows them to see themselves more clearly, which is a space of love and compassion and freedom. Again, this has nothing to do with what you do. This has nothing to do with creating anything. This is, again, everything to do with how do you see? Do you see what's real and true? Or do you see your imagination about others? Which again, speaks to the fundamental importance of this. The more you see clearly, it resolves everything in your life. It resolves how you see others, which means it brings healing to all flavor of conflict and drama. Actually, there's a question here. How not to be caught up in the imagination, even when there's a scene of the imagination? Well, okay, this is great. Imagine a very loving mother whose small child is caught up in the imagination that the other kids don't like him, and he's experiencing an interpretation that means he's undeserving of love. That means he's not worthy to be alive, because this is imagination. Something's happening. The other kids won't let me play with their toys, and so it means I'm less than. It's imagination. What does the mother do? The mother's full of unconditional love. The mother recognizes that the child's just confused. The mother recognizes that the child's just misunderstanding the experience. And so the mother holds a space that embraces the misunderstanding, that understands the misunderstanding, and says, come here, let me hold you. And in that embrace, it allows the child to be confused, allows the child to rest in a space of openness and compassion. And in that space, the confusion unravels itself. And sure, maybe there's a conversation, but the conversation comes from a particular space of openness and compassion. So it's not the words that are spoken, it's the space that's held. The same thing's going on with your relationship with yourself. To recognize that you're lost in illusion. Are you judging yourself? Are you saying you should this or should that? Or is there a profound space of compassion that understands, of course you got lost. That's what we do. It's okay. Come here, let me hold you. And really be with yourself. There's a profound expression of self-forgiveness. And again, it's not forgiving yourself for doing something wrong. It's forgiving yourself because there's nothing to forgive. It's not a problem. Likewise, if you judge yourself and you think it's a problem, that's adding a dream upon a dream, and that will lead you further down the confusion and then struggling to get out of the dream. There doesn't have to be a struggle, but it invites a cultivation in how you relate to yourself, to relate to yourself from a space that is more present, that is more loving, compassionate, and kind, which again will all happen naturally and effortlessly as you continue to see more of what's true, because as you see more of what's true, you'll realize that the judgment just simply isn't necessary. Okay, we're going to step into this guided meditation, super short and sweet. Let's do that. Here we are, right now, So lovely to be with you. Let's just take a moment and take 3 deep breaths and invite ourselves into reality, into this moment. And as we inhale in a big but natural way, we're just going to feel a deep appreciation for the life that is here and now. And then when we exhale, we will release all the imagination and drop more and more into presence. Let's breathe. In the most beautiful and compassionate way, we can discern the difference between reality and the imagination. Just notice. Recognize that there is the real, here and now. And then there is the unreal, the mind thinking, thinking, and thinking. Discover a fascination with this. Oh my goodness, there's so much that's not happening. What is really happening? Your home is the real. Everything you crave, here, right now. Welcome home. Thanks for meditating with me today.